Hey, Crossroads. I hope you are well. I hope you're enjoying your Passion Week. And I hope you don't mind. I'm recording this right after I get off work. And, you might hear the kids, you might hear some cats. But, I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about what happened on Saturday during Passion Week. What happened while Jesus lay in the grave? And while there's nothing recorded in the Gospels about this time except in the Gospel of Matthew. And at the end of Matthew chapter 27, we have one small account of something happening on this day. And in verse 62, we read, "The next day, that is, after the day of preparation, the chief priests and the Pharisees gathered before Pilate and said, 'Sir, we remember how that impostor said, while he was still alive, after 3 days I will rise. Therefore, order the tomb to be made secure until the third day, lest his disciples go and steal him away and tell the people, he has risen from the dead, and the last fraud will be worse than the first.' Pilate said to them, 'You have a guard of soldiers. Go, make it as secure as you can.' So they went and made the tomb secure by sealing the stone and setting a guard." So while Jesus lie in the grave, what we see is the Jews are actually doing everything in their power. They're doing as much as they can to stop Jesus's plan, to stop Jesus's words from coming true, but even just the disciples frauding it. They wanted to keep the name of Jesus quiet. They wanted to suppress the truth. Well, were their efforts going to succeed? Was their plan going to work? What was Jesus doing during this time? It's a common question. After the crucifixion and before the resurrection, what was Jesus doing? What was Jesus doing down below while all of this was going on up above? Well, the historic Apostles' Creed says he suffered under Pontius Pilate, was crucified, died, and was buried. He descended into hell. On the third day, he rose again. Did you notice that? He descended into hell. So where does the Apostles' Creed get this idea that after being buried, Jesus descended into hell? Well, they got this idea from Ephesians chapter 4, and I'm going to turn there real quick for us. And in Ephesians chapter 4, beginning in verse 7, it reads, "But grace was given to each one of us according to the measure of Christ's gift." Verse 8, "Therefore it says, when he ascended on high, he led a host of captives, and he gave gifts to men." Verse 9, "In saying he ascended, what does it mean but that he had also descended into the lower regions, the earth? He who descended is the one who also ascended far above the heavens, that he might fill all things." Now, the creed says hell, but the original word would have been Hades, which is the same word akin to the Hebrew word Sheol. Hades or Sheol was the place of the dead, good and bad, prior to the resurrection. In Luke 16, we see that the rich man and Lazarus are in the same place. They're able to communicate, but that there is a chasm in between. So we see that the dead prior to Jesus' resurrection are in the same place, yet they have different quarters. So while Jesus was buried, what he did, according to Ephesians 4, was that he led captivity captive. It says that he led a host of captives. He went to Hades, and he took up to the right hand of God the Father with him those who had placed their faith in the coming Messiah, those who are a part of Abraham's bosom, as it's called. What we also know is that Jesus preached to those who did not have faith, making sure to them that their punishment is just. And we see this in 1 Peter 3:19. So while the Jews above think they've got to stop Jesus by sealing the stone, Jesus is down in Hades, breaking all the seals and leading a host of captives up far above the heavens, as Paul says. The Jews' attempt to keep Jesus in the grave and thwart his plan actually reminds me of Psalm 2. God laughs at their foolishness and their attempts to suppress the truth and to stop his plan. All the while, they think that they have shut Jesus up for good. Down in Hades, Jesus is just getting started.